हेलो फ्रेंड्स, वेलकम टू इन्फॉर्मेशन फॉर विजुअली इम्पेयर्ड यूट्यूब चैनल। हमारे इस यूट्यूब चैनल पर आप सभी को मिलते हैं फुल्ली एक्सेसिबल टॉक बैक के साथ टेक्नोलॉजी, जॉब अलर्ट से संबंधित नई अपडेट्स। इन नई अपडेट्स को पाने के लिए चैनल को कीजिए सब्सक्राइब और पास में बने बेल आइकन को प्रेस करके कीजिए ऑल पे सेट, ताकि आपको मिल सके हमारी वीडियो की सबसे पहले अपडेट। तो कंटिन्यू वॉचिंग इंफॉर्मेशन फॉर विजुअली इम्पेयर्ड यूट्यूब चैनल।
Hello friends, welcome to Information for Visually Impaired YouTube channel. Today we will be discussing about the vacancies in regional rural banks or RRBs for the post of officers of scale 1, 2 and 3 and office assistants. Now, before we begin with the main guidelines and the different procedures, first let us discuss about the tentative schedule of the whole examination process. So, the online registration including edit or modification of application by candidates begins from 7 June 2022 to 27 June 2022. Payment of application fees and intimidation charges is from 7 June 2022 to 27 June 2022. Then, the download of call letters for pre-exam training is from 9 July 2022. The conduct of pre-exam training is from 18 July 2022 to 23 July 2022. Then, the download of call letters for online examination of preliminary round will be held in July or August 2022. Then, online examination for preliminary round is on August 2022. Then the results of online examination of the preliminary round will be declared in September 2022. Then the download of call letter for online exam, main or single, will also be declared in September 2022. Then online examination of mains and single will be held in September or October 2022. Then declaration of results for main or single for officer scale 1, 2 and 3 will also be declared in October 2022. Then for the download of call letters for interview for officer scale 1, 2 and 3 will be declared in October or November 2022. Then the conduct of interview for officer scale 1, 2 and 3 will also be on October, November 2022. And at last, the provisional allotment for officer scale 1, 2 and 3 and office assistant will be in January 2023. Now we will discuss a very important section, that is the vacancies available for the visually impaired candidates in different states and different banks. So, in the state of Assam, in the bank of Assam Gramin Vikas Bank, we have one seat for the visually impaired candidates. Then in the state of Chhattisgarh, in Chhattisgarh Rajya Gramin Bank, we have one seat for the visually impaired. Then in Himachal Pradesh state, in the branch of the Himachal Pradesh Gramin Bank, we have two seats for the visually impaired candidates. Then again, coming to the state of Jammu and Kashmir, we have the J&K Gramin Bank, which has one seat for the visually impaired candidates. Then in the state of Karnataka Gramin Bank, we have one seat. And then for in again the same state, we have the Karnataka Vikas Gramina Bank, which also has one seat. Then in Kerala, we have the Kerala Gramin Bank, which also has one seat for the visually impaired candidates. Then in Madhya Pradesh, we have the Madhya Pradesh Gramin Bank, which has 6 seats, and Madhyanchal Gramin Bank, which has one seat. Then in the state of Maharashtra, we have the Maharashtra Gramin Bank, which has 2 seats for the visually impaired candidates. And in the same state, we have Vidarbha Konkan Gramin Bank, which has one seat. Then coming to the state of Odisha, we have the Utkal Gramin Bank, which has one seat reserved for the VI candidates. Then for Punjab, we have the Punjab Gramin Bank, which has one seat. Then for the state of Rajasthan, we have the Rajasthan Marudhara Gramin Bank, which has one seat reserved for the VI candidates. Then coming to Tamil Nadu, we have Tamil Nadu Grama Bank, which has 4 seats. Then coming to the state of Telangana, we have Andhra Pradesh Gramina Vikas Bank, which has 2 seats. Then in the same state, we have Telangana Gramina Bank, which has 1 seat. Then we have the state of Tripura, which is the Tripura Gramin Bank, which has 1 seat. Now coming to the state of Uttar Pradesh, we have the Aryavart Bank, which has 1 seat reserved for the VI candidates. And then at last we have in the state of West Bengal, Bangia Gramin Vikas Bank, which has 2 seats for the visually impaired candidates. Now these were the seats for the post of office assistants. Now talking about the post of officer scale 1, we have in the state of Bihar, there is the Uttar Bihar Gramin Bank, which has 1 seat reserved for the VI candidates. Then in Chhattisgarh, we have the Chhattisgarh Rajya Gramin Bank, which has 1 seat for the VI candidates. Then coming to the state of Himachal Pradesh, we have the Himachal Pradesh Gramin Bank, which has 1 seat. Then we have in the state of Jammu and Kashmir, we have the Jammu and Kashmir Gramin Bank, which has 2 seats for the VI candidates. Then in the state of Karnataka, we have the Karnataka Gramin Bank, which has 3 seats. And in the same state, we have the Karnataka Vikas Gramina Bank, which has 2 seats for the VI candidates. Now coming to the state of Kerala, we have the Kerala Gramin Bank, which has 1 seat. And then moving on to Madhya Pradesh, we have Madhya Pradesh Gramin Bank, which has 3 seats for the VI candidates. Then in Maharashtra, we have Maharashtra Gramin Bank, which has 1 seat. And in the same state of Maharashtra, we have the Vidarbha Konkan Gramin Bank, which also has 1 seat for the VI candidates. Then moving on to the state of Odisha, we have Utkal Gramin Bank, which has 1 seat. Then in the state of Punjab, we have the Punjab Gramin Bank, which has 1 seat for the VI candidates. Then in the state of Uttar Pradesh, we have the Aryavart Bank, which has 1 seat. Then again in the state of Uttarakhand, we have the Uttarakhand Gramin Bank, which also has 1 seat for the VI candidates. And at last we have the state of West Bengal, which has the Bangia Gramin Vikas Bank, which has 1 seat for the VI candidates. And these were the seats for the officer scale 1 post. Then according to the vacancy schedule, there are no vacancies available for officer scale 2 agriculture officer for the VI candidates. Neither are there any posts for marketing officers of scale 2, nor are there any posts for the treasury manager of scale 2 officer for the VI candidates. Now coming to the post of officer scale 2 general banking officer, we have 2 seats in the Bank of Karnataka Gramin Bank for the VI candidates. Then 1 seat in the Karnataka Vikas Gramina Bank and 1 seat in the Kerala Gramin Bank for the VI candidates. So these were the various vacancies available for the different posts in the different states and banks for the VI candidates. Now let's talk about the application fee or the intimation charges, which is applicable GST and will be borne by the IBPS. So the application fees and intimation charges, for this the online payment is to be made from 7 June 2022 to 27 June 2022, and both dates are inclusive. So for the post of officer scale 1, 2 and 3, the application fee is 175 for the PWBD candidates, and for the post of office assistant the application fee is 175 again for the PWBD candidates. Now let's talk about the age relaxation. So for the category of persons with benchmark disability as defined under the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act 2016, the age relaxation is of 10 years. Now let's talk about one of the most important sections of this video. We'll talk about the guidelines for persons with benchmark disabilities using a scribe. So the visually impaired candidates and candidates whose writing speed is adversely affected permanently for any reason can use their own scribe at their cost during the online examination. In all such cases, where a scribe is used, the following rules will apply. The candidate will have to arrange his or her own scribe at his or her own cost. The scribe may be from any academic stream. However, for specialist officers post, the scribe should be from an academic stream different from that prescribed for the post. Both the candidate as well as scribe will have to give a suitable undertaking confirming that the scribe fulfills all the stipulated eligibility criteria for a scribe mentioned above. Further, in case it later transpires that he or she did not fulfill any laid down eligibility criteria or suppress material facts, that candidature of the applicant will be stand cancelled irrespective of the result of the CRP. Then, those candidates who use a scribe shall be eligible for compensatory time of 20 minutes or otherwise advice for every hour of the examination. Then, the scribe arranged by the candidate should not be a candidate for the online examination under CRP RRB. If violation of the above is detected at any stage of the process, candidature for CRP of both the candidate and the scribe will be cancelled. Candidates eligible for and who wish to use the services of a scribe in the examination should invariably carefully indicate the same in the online application form. Any subsequent request may not be favorably entertained. Only candidates registered for compensatory time at the time of online application will be allowed such concessions, since compensatory time given to candidates shall be system based. It shall not be possible for the test conducting agency to allow such time if he or she is not registered for the same. Candidates not registered for compensatory time shall not be allowed such concessions. During the exam at any stage, if it is found that scribe is independently answering the questions, the exam session will be terminated and candidate's candidature will be cancelled. The candidature of such candidates using the services of a scribe will also be cancelled if it is reported after the examination by the test administrator personnel that the scribe independently answered the questions. Again, guidelines for visually impaired candidates. So, visually impaired candidates who suffer from not less than 40% of disability may opt to view the contents of the test in magnified font, and all such candidates will be eligible for compensatory time of 20 minutes for every hour or otherwise advice of examination. The facility of viewing the contents of the test is in magnifying font will not be available to visually impaired candidates who use the services of a scribe for the examination. At last, now let's talk about the structure of the examination. So, there will be two rounds. The first one is the preliminary examination, which will be objective based. For this, for the post of office assistant, we have two sections, which has, the first is reasoning and it has 40 questions with a maximum of 40 marks, and the second section is numerical ability, which has 40 questions and a maximum of 40 marks. So the total marking for this examination will be 80 marks and the duration given will be 45 minutes. Now for the post of officer scale 1, for the preliminary examination, there again we have the reasoning section, which has 40 questions and a maximum of 40 marks, and then we have the quantitative aptitude, which has 40 questions and a maximum of 40 marks. This examination also has a total of 80 marks with a duration of 45 minutes will be given to each candidate for writing the examination. Candidates for both the post have to qualify in both the tests by securing minimum cutoffs. Adequate number of candidates in each category, depending upon requirements, will be shortlisted for online main examination. Now talking about the structure of the main examination. So for the post of the office assistant, there will be 5 sections. So the first is reasoning, which has 40 questions and a maximum of 50 marks. Then we have computer knowledge with 40 questions with a maximum of 20 marks. Then general awareness, which has 40 questions and a maximum of 40 marks. Then we have the section of English language, which has 40 questions and a maximum of 40 marks. Then we have the section of Hindi language, which has 40 questions and a maximum of 40 marks. So the sections of English and Hindi, this can be opted by the candidates themselves. And at last we have the numerical ability, which has 40 questions and a maximum of 50 marks. So the total marks for this examination is 200 and the duration given for the test completion is 2 hours. Now coming to the post of officer scale 1, we have the reasoning section, which has 40 questions and a maximum of 50 marks. Then computer knowledge, which has 40 questions and a maximum of 20 marks. Then we have the section of general awareness, which has 40 questions and a maximum of 40 marks. Then again we have the option of English language section, which has 40 questions and a maximum of 40 marks. And then we have the Hindi language section, which can also be opted by the candidate, which has 40 questions and a maximum of 40 marks. And at last we have Quantitative Aptitude, which has 40 questions and a maximum of 50 marks. Now this examination also composes of 200 marks and it also has a duration of 2 hours. So this was all for today. Thank you and have a good day.